What's up, Ultimate Otaku? Today I'm bringing you an absolute masterpiece, a brand new anime fresh out of the oven. It tells the story of a legendary warrior who sacrificed his life to save his comrades, fighting terrifying demon armies all by himself in the depths of hell. When he finally manages to wipe them out and return to our world, he's hit with mind-blowing shocks and twists that turn his life completely upside down, forcing him to start all the way from scratch. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and without further chatter, let's dive right into the story. Our anime begins in a dark underground demon dungeon. Corpses are scattered everywhere, shredded and sliced to pieces, thousands upon thousands of them. Amidst the bodies, we see our heroes looking completely exhausted after this absolute monster of a battle. These guys have been slaughtering demons for days and months without seeing home. Old man Duran is finally relieved that they cleared out half the demons, saving the world from their evil. On the other hand, our hero Eric is still anxious. See, demons never truly stop coming unless you kill their king himself, and that guy is hidden deep inside the dungeon. Reaching him won't be easy. A little bit away from them, our protagonist Loke is busy picking through the corpses, collecting anything valuable to sell or convert into magic power, completely tuning out their idle chatter. Old man Duran chuckles. I swear, Luck, my boy, if you stay this cold, no girl will ever look at you or love you. You'll stay a miserable single guy forever. They start teasing him because all he cares about is fighting, action, and that whole lifestyle. In contrast, Eric laments that because of this endless war, he missed the birth of his son and hasn't seen his family in ages. Duran replies, "Tell me about it. My daughter has probably forgotten my face by now, and her mother is going to make my life absolute hell. She's a total nagging nightmare anyway." Luck chuckles. Thank goodness for the blessing of being single. Why would I mess with nagging wives, kids, and all that headache? I'm living like a king right here, among the monsters and demons. However, the other two know that having a family is vital for any man. It's what gives them the drive to make it back alive from any fight, knowing people would be destroyed if they died or got badly hurt. As they talk, Luck suddenly stares behind them in sheer horror. When they notice his expression, they turn around and freeze in shock. A massive horde of demons is blocking their path. All three are stunned. Where did these come from after all the ones they just slaughtered? The demons just keep coming, but what choice do they have? Making a living is tough, my friend. They brace themselves and draw their swords. Luck, however, looks at his companions. They are completely battered and exhausted. If all three fight an army of this size, they will definitely perish. Luck, on the other hand, has nobody waiting for him or crying over his death, unlike his friends who have homes and families waiting for them. So, getting fired up, he summons magical circles and yells, "Leave these demons to me and get out of here fast. Go." Naturally, his comrades refuse. How could they leave their brother behind? But Luck doesn't care. He raises massive stone pillars from the ground and seals them off with a protective barrier so they can't re-enter, nor can any demons attack them from behind. His friends scream and refuse to abandon him, but Luck shouts back, "I have no family. You guys are my family. I won't risk your lives. Don't worry about me. I'll come back to you." He charges courageously into the demon horde, unleashing magic power from his hands and blowing them to pieces. A while later, he stands atop a giant mountain of corpses, completely pushed to his limits and gasping for air. Before he can catch his breath, a massive demon general grabs him by the throat, choking. Not only that, but the general drains all of Luck's magic power and slams him to the ground. Luck is utterly spent, barely able to breathe. As the general raises his sword for the kill, boom, Luck manifests a magical eye, grabbing the general's body. The general screams in agony as his body shatters and dies. It turns out Luck can absorb and master any spell used against him with ease. Grabbing his sword once more, he braces for an even bigger demon army and charges in, slashing and dicing through them. But unfortunately, every time he wipes out a wave, another appears. Months pass, so many that he stops keeping track of time. He transforms into a cold-blooded killing machine. Even while sleeping, his body remains locked in combat mode, never resting, until finally, my friend, he succeeds in obliterating the entire demonic horde. He stands taking a breath after endless struggle when, boom, a giant hand of flame streaks toward him at terrifying speed. He dodges at the last second, setting up a shield barrier. Finally, the main boss shows up, the demon king himself. Luck draws his sword and dashes forward to attack. He manages to touch the king's body and activates his drain magic, only to be shocked when the magic fails. The demon king strikes back, slashing Luck across the abdomen. Luck retreats quickly, stunned. His energy is completely spent. He hasn't eaten in days, and the king's power is downright terrifying. With a single blow, the king shatters Luck's sword. But is our hero going to cower and run? Absolutely not. The guy is a genius Archmage. He triggers a magic circle circle, blasting flames directly at the king's leg, knocking him down. Seizing the moment, Loke rushes in, unleashing every drop of magic power and every spell in his arsenal, burning the king and draining his life force. Both scream in intense agony as their energies clash furiously, until boom, both vanish into thin air. After some time, a hand emerges from underground, and out climbs Loke, completely shocked that he actually succeeded in slaying the Demon King. He steps out and draws his sword in total triumph, completely failing to notice that he has shrunk into a little kid after previously being a buff, muscular guy. Leaving the dungeon at last, he finds himself in an unfamiliar, deserted region filled only with mountains and farmland. He pushes forward, hoping to find a restaurant or town. After walking a long way, he finally reaches the royal capital and casually walks through the main gates. The guards immediately call out to him, handing him some clothes so he isn't walking around practically half naked in nature. Delighted by how kind the people are for giving him clothes and food, he decides his first stop will be his friend Joran's house. But when he arrives, he's stunned. His friend's old humble shack has been turned into a massive, luxurious mansion with a guard at the gate. Loke says, "I'm here to see my friend Joran. Just tell him his old pal Loke is back." The guard dismisses him coldly. "We get plenty of beggars like you trying that line. Get lost, kid." Realizing he won't get through, Loke decides to head to the Adventurers Guild to get a new rank card since everyone seems to have forgotten him. On the way, he spots a massive statue and wonders who it represents. He asks a passerby, "Excuse me, sir, who is this statue of?" The old man looks at him in complete shock. "How can you not know? That is the great warrior Loke, who 10 years ago fought an entire demon army alone and slew the Demon King. He's the greatest hero in history." Loke is floored. Everyone thinks he's been dead for 10 years. Wait, 10 years? Excuse me, 10 whole years? You were trapped fighting in that dungeon for 10 years, only to come out looking like a little kid. He rushes to the Adventurers Guild, where people stare at him strangely. It's rare to see a young kid in a place like this. Suddenly, Joran bursts into tears, scoops Loke up in his arms, and runs off to a quiet corner. They collapse to the side, Joran hugging him tightly, unable to believe his long-lost friend who vanished 10 years ago is actually alive and back. He immediately sets down a huge spread of food. Loke dives in, eating frantically out of sheer hunger. The poor guy hasn't eaten real food in 10 years, surviving purely on the energy taken through his drain touch. Joran takes away a dry piece of cake Loke was chewing on and orders his guard to bring a proper feast instead. He says, "I'm still in utter shock that you're back after all these years. You look bizarrely young, but thank goodness you're alive." Loke explains, "My drain touch kept me going. Every time I touched a demon, I absorbed its energy and life force. That's how I survived." Suddenly, the door swings open and Eric walks in carrying a plate of rice. When he sees Loke, he bursts into tears of joy. The poor kid doesn't know how to react. He's surrounded by two old men who used to be his peers, now towering over him and sobbing uncontrollably. They then point out how strange he looks. Instead of aging 10 years, he shrank and looks far younger than before. Loke hadn't even looked at his own reflection yet, but when he looks into the glass window, he's horrified to see he really is a young child. He starts retracing his steps to figure out what turned him into a kid. The last thing he remembers is defeating the Demon King with drain touch, absorbing all his energy, life force, and spells. He realizes the king must have had an H-reversal curse active that transferred over to him. As he explains this, both Joran and Eric stare at him in sheer disbelief. "You defeated who? You beat the Demon King?" Loke replies, "Yeah. After we fought him and he fled. He came back later and I finished him off alone. He was ridiculously strong, and his demon horde was practically bottomless." Joran and Eric exchange glances. Eric reveals, "The kingdom has been rapidly expanding its military all these years out of terror that the Demon King would return to destroy the world. Since you defeated him and ended that nightmare, you deserve a massive reward." Joran adds, "He's right. Oh, by the way, shouldn't you congratulate Eric? He's the king now. Everything here is under his command." Loke is utterly mind-blown. His broke old buddy Eric is now the king? How on earth did that happen? Eric explains that after the final battle and Loke's supposed death alongside the Demon King, the previous king deemed Eric worthy of taking the throne. Meanwhile, old man Joran became the Grand Master of the Adventurers Guild. Loke is genuinely happy for his friends. "You guys landed some amazing positions. You truly deserve it." Joran responds, "You are the reason for all of this, Loke. If not for you, we'd be dead. So starting today, you are the Archmage, Archduke Loke." Loke freaks out. "Archduke? I'm just a broke mage. How did you turn me into top-tier nobility overnight?" Eric explains that he had to honor Loke's ultimate sacrifice. Upon taking the throne, he granted Loke noble status as the greatest mage and erected a giant statue so the kingdom would always always remember the hero who gave his life for them. Luck asks about the statue, pointing out it looks nothing like him. They admit the sculptor had never seen Luck in person and built it entirely off their descriptions. Luck declines all the noble honors. He knows the existing noble families will throw a fit if a new top noble suddenly appears out of nowhere. As long as he was thought dead, it didn't bother them, but now it would cause chaos. So he tells them, no one can know I'm alive. Luck is dead, and that story is closed. I want to start fresh as an entry-level adventurer and rebuild my name from scratch. Shortly after, Luck is dressed in basic adventurer gear, holding a brand new registration card under the name Loke. They applied a magic spell to conceal his true base stats and real power. Since his full name was Loke, using Loke keeps anyone from suspecting his true identity. From this day on, Luck is officially dead. He is starting over completely, his true S-rank status hidden, posing as a beginner F-rank warrior who has to climb the ranks all over again. No one will know the truth except his two old friends and a select few. As he leaves the palace, the gate guard stammers an apology, terrified after realizing he had disrespected earlier. From a distance, a young girl watches them suspiciously, confused by what's going on. Loke exits the royal palace and enters the Adventurers Guild, handing his chosen quest to the receptionist, Baroni. She warns him that hunting goblins is way too dangerous for a beginner like him and suggests he pick an easier task. Loke brushes it off. Why would a legendary hero fear a few weak monsters? But the receptionist insists, pointing out that many rookie adventurers have died because they underestimated goblins, so he absolutely cannot go alone. Right then, two young adventurers step in and offer to team up with him since they are also F-rank rookies. One is a mage, and the other is a scout archer. Without even asking Loke, the receptionist approves it on the spot. Great. You're in their party now. Quest approved. Good luck out there. The trio leaves the guild. The mage boy is named Ario, who uses fireballs, and the girl is his younger sister, Jenny, who is highly skilled in archery. Loke keeps his cover, telling them, I'm Loke, a beginner swordsman. And just like that, my friend, his new journey begins alongside his new teammates. They start exploring together, asking locals about recent goblin sightings. After searching around, they pinpoint the location thanks to Jenny's sharp scouting skills. Loke is impressed by her abilities, but he quickly notices something off. The goblin footprints on the ground suggest there are far more than 10 of them, and there's definitely a stronger monster leading them, as regular goblins aren't smart enough to coordinate like this. He considers warning them, but changes his mind. It's better to let them learn through experience and gain independence. However, knowing the danger, he decides he'll secretly protect them so they don't get wiped out. Soon, they arrive near the goblin hideout, which looks like an old, dark abandoned mine. Loke is a bit intrigued. He's used to fighting high-level demons, so these low-level monsters are new to him. Ario explains that goblins are nocturnal and weak during the day, meaning they can strike now with a huge advantage. Loke takes charge. I'll go ahead and take out the gate guards. Jenny, watch our backs once we move in. Ario, save your magic as much as possible. We don't know what's waiting inside. He rushes forward at blinding speed, instantly decapitating the first guard while Jenny plants an arrow straight into the second guard's brain. The three storm the hideout, encountering a large group of goblins inside. Loke leaps into action, effortlessly slicing them to pieces. Jenny snipes them from range, and Ario roasts a few with fireballs. Afterward, the siblings are panting heavily from exhaustion, while Loke watches them casually, even though he killed far more monsters than both of them combined. Taking out just 30 goblins completely drained them. As they rest, Loke asks, can you use fire magic again, Ario? Ario groans that his mana is completely depleted, and Jenny reveals she only has 3 arrows left. Ario suggests, we should retreat. We're out of magic and arrows. It's too dangerous to keep going. Loke likes the idea since it means he can send them home and clear the rest alone. But suddenly, a blood-curdling, monstrous roar echoes outside. Exiting the cave, they find a massive goblin leader standing before the hideout, furiously searching around for his fallen minions. Observing the creature, Loke realizes it's just as dumb as regular goblins. There's no way this brute was the mastermind behind the tactical livestock raids. Someone else must be manipulating these monsters from the shadows. The goblin leader roars violently, preparing to attack. Before Loke can draw his weapon, a mysterious girl suddenly rushes in out of nowhere, furiously attacking the goblin leader with her sword. Who on earth is this girl, and what is she doing here? That's what we'll find out right now. She charges in yelling, get out of my way or I'll cut you down, and slashes fiercely at the leader, managing to wound his shoulder. But the cut is shallow, and seeing our shocked hero standing there, she shouts, run, get out of here fast, you're no match for this. Loke signals his teammates to fall back immediately. They listen and retreat, leaving Loke completely relieved. Now now that they're safe, he can finally go all out without holding back. Back at the battlefield, the fierce girl is struggling hard against the Goblin Leader, barely parrying his heavy blows. Suddenly, Loke's voice calls out casually, "Need some help, beautiful?" She turns, stunned. "What are you still doing here? Get lost, kid." She lunges at the leader again, but he blocks her attack with his massive weapon. Loke watches coldly from a distance. "You're going to lose this fight. You'd better fall back." The girl gets annoyed. "You think I'm weak, kid? I can take him down in one hit." Loke smirks. "Sure looks like it, sister, but I meg your sword is about to break." Suddenly, crack, her sword shatters into pieces. Staring at her broken blade in shock, Loke chuckles. "Sure you don't want help, sweetheart?" Furious, she snaps, "Get out of my face," and draws a second sword from her back. But before she can strike, the Goblin Leader disarms her with a single heavy blow, knocking the sword away. Terrified, she stumbles backward. Suddenly, Loke steps in front of her, drawing his weapon. "Stand back, miss. I let you play around so you wouldn't cry, but now this kill is mine." Enraged, the Goblin Leader lets out a horrifying roar to intimidate them. The girl trembles, but Loke doesn't even flinch. He casually steps forward, cuts the monster in half with a single stroke, and mutters, "Stop giving me a headache, big guy." The girl is utterly speechless. "Who are you? How did you kill it in one blow?" Finding him silent, she bows respectfully. "I apologize for my rude behavior earlier. Let me introduce myself properly. I am Sia, daughter of Danton, leader of the Eastern Beast tribe. Thank you for saving my life. Now tell me, who are you?" Obviously, he's not going to say, "I'm the legendary Archmage Loke." Instead, he replies, "Just a humble F-rank adventurer named Loke." Seeing her disbelief, he shows his new rank card. She's completely baffled. How can an F-rank rookie possess such terrifying power? Loke brushes it off. "It's a long story. What rank are you?" She admits she is B rank, but feels humbled after witnessing his strength. Loke accepts her apology, then asks, "So what's hidden inside this cave?" This whole setup can't just end with killing a Goblin Leader. Sia gets visibly tense and tries to claim nothing is left, but Loke insists on investigating, especially since she called the Goblin Leader a mere minion during the fight, meaning a true mastermind must be inside. Realizing she can't hide it, Sia nervously reveals the truth. The mastermind is a terrifying vampire lord, an extremely dangerous entity that can transform into bats or dense mist and cannot be killed easily. Loke raises an eyebrow. "If it's that dangerous, why are you trying to solo it when you couldn't even handle a dumb Goblin Leader?" Embarrassed, Sia explains her backstory. Years ago, her tribe hunted vampires, but recently the monsters returned in massive numbers, slaughtering many villagers. Her father, the tribe chief, was gravely injured. Although they fought off the horde, the vampire lord escaped to cause chaos elsewhere. As the chief's daughter, she took it upon herself to hunt him down, tracking him for months to this very cave where he was controlling the goblins. Loke asks, "So if someone helps you, does it break any tribe rules?" She replies that any help is welcome as long as the monster dies. Loke decides to assist her and hands her his heavy sword since hers broke. She's thrilled to hold such a fine weapon, while Loke doesn't even need a blade. His bare hands and magic are more than enough. They charge into the cave. Loke sweeps through incoming goblins, effortlessly pulverizing them barehanded. Sia is stunned seeing him fight without a sword, unaware that Loke spent a decade fighting high-level demons alongside god-tier allies, enhancing their stats with magic, healing their wounds, and slaying demon lords. Breaking down the inner chamber door, they find the vampire lord waiting. Without even turning around, the vampire taunts, "So the little kitten decided to play with me after I crippled her father and tribe?" Sia fumes, "I'm here to finish you." The vampire laughs mockingly, "Finish me? Your father couldn't even scratch me. Know your place, weakling." Spreading his bat-like wings, he boasts, "You're useless before me. I am the Lord of the Night, master of vampires. Not even 10 of you could challenge me." Unimpressed by the villain monologue, Loke interrupts, "So you're the one sending goblins to lure and murder adventurers?" The vampire smiles wickedly, "Smart kid. Maybe I'll make you my servant. But isn't it pathetic, little girl, bringing a human child to fight your battle?" He explains that vampire mind control magic doesn't work on monsters, but can instantly turn any human into an obedient slave. Magic circles flash in his eyes as he casts the spell on Loke, who freezes in place. To Sia's horror, Loke's eyes go blank, and he walks toward the vampire lord like a mindless thrall. Sia falls to her knees, overwhelmed with guilt for putting him in danger. The vampire sneers, "Shall I have him kill you, or do it myself?" But the moment Loke steps up to him, boom, he lands a devastating punch straight into the vampire's face, sending him flying across the room. The vampire crashes to the ground, utterly shocked. How is this possible? Loke smugly reveals that he possesses absurdly high resistance against mind control, mental interference, and static status curses. After all, he's a veteran Archmage. Furious, the vampire screams. No ordinary human can resist a vampire lord's mind control. Loke taunts him further. Maybe you're just a weak, pathetic fraud calling yourself a lord. Sia gasps in terror as Loke intentionally provokes the beast. The enraged vampire unleashes dark magic, but Loke casually dodges, casts a counter-magic circle, flies in, and activates Drain Touch, sucking the monster's life force and mana dry. Loke mocks, "Not so tough now, are you?" The vampire shrinks into a withered old creature, gasping in horror. "What are you? You can't be human." Loke smiles. Just Loke, an F-rank adventurer. Desperate, the vampire attempts to dissolve into a swarm of bats to escape, but Sia charges in and slashes him in half. She unleashes fire magic, incinerating the bats in his body until only his severed head remains. The head curses them. "I will have my revenge." The pendant still remains, before crumbling into dust. Sia hands Loke his sword back, noting how terrifyingly sharp and powerful it felt. Loke nervously laughs it off. He can hardly tell her it's the legendary sword of the Demon King. Sia digs through the ashes and finds a cursed pendant, explaining that vampire lords store a dark curse inside it that revives them after many years. Before fading entirely, the vampire's ghostly aura cackles. "My defeat is temporary. The pendant will open a dimensional rift, filling the world with demons, monsters, and the dark beast." Loke grows serious. He knows all about those rifts. 10 years ago, the Demon King used one to escape, and Loke had pursued him inside before it sealed shut, trapping him in hell for a decade. The vampire boasts, "Live in fear. The pendant will summon countless vampire lords and demons to conquer the world." Without hesitating, Loke tosses the pendant into the air and slashes it in half. A surge of dark energy explodes, which his sword instantly absorbs. The dying vampire is horrified. "How can you absorb a curse?" Loke looks down at him coldly. "Even if that rift opens, no demons will come through, because I already slaughtered every single one of them, including their king." The vampire stares at the blade in sheer terror, finally recognizing it. "No, it can't be. You're the great Archmage," before Loke's sword cuts his head in half, absorbing his remaining mana. Trembling, Sia whispers, "You're the great Archmage Luck." Loke sighs, apologizing for breaking the pendant, but Sia stammers that it's totally fine. As they exit the cave, Loke mentions returning to check on Ario and Jenny. Sia asks nervously, "Are you really Archmage Luck?" Loke stutters, trying to cover it up, but she smiles. "Don't worry, your secret is safe with me." Back at the guild, they meet up with Ario and Jenny, turning in the goblin magic gems. The receptionist is stunned that a group of rookies successfully cleared the quest. Later, Ario and Jenny stand before the grand statue of Archmage Luck, bowing in respect. "You should thank him too, Loke. If he hadn't cleared the world of demons 10 years ago, we never would have survived today." Sia struggles to hold back her laughter. Little do they know the living legend himself is standing right next to them. And that brings us to the end of part 1. Thank you all so much for watching and following along with the journey. If you enjoyed this series and want to see us dive right into part 2, let's try to hit 1,000 likes on this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with future recaps, and drop a comment below letting me know who your favorite character was this season.